In this film, a scientist king wants to capture all the magicians and trap them in a mirror world. But a brave girl from a magician's family disagrees with his plan and decides to stand up to the king. Without wasting any time, let's jump into this incredible movie. At the start of the film, we see a group of soldiers searching the snowy mountains for something important, following their king's orders. Suddenly, a penguin grabs a soldier's sandwich and dashes away, disappearing into the mountains. The soldier chases after the penguin, but it vanishes. When the soldier collides with the mountain, it cracks and reveals a magical door. The soldiers are frightened as they witness this strange event, and we get a glimpse of what lies beyond the door. Inside, there is a magnificent ice palace. We meet the powerful Snow Queen who rules over this enchanting realm. Then the scene changes to focus on a girl named Gerta, who is on her way to meet a powerful witch named Layla. Layla introduces herself as a magician from a long line of magic users, claiming to be able to perform any spell imaginable. Curious about Gerta's visit, she asks her why she has come to see her. Gerta explains that her parents are magicians and her brother has also magical abilities, but she feels left out because she has no magic of her own. She pleads with Layla for help. Layla listens to Gerta's request and agrees to help her, but there's a catch. She wants 10 dinars in exchange for her magic. Gerta realizes that 10 dinars is a lot of money, but she is determined to find a way to get it. She tells Layla that she doesn't have the money right now, but promises to gather it soon before leaving the witch's lair. With a sense of hope, Gerta heads to her father's shop, which specializes in magical mirrors. At the shop, Gerta manages to collect the 10 dinars she has saved up with great effort. Just then, her father arrives and hands her a magical mirror to sell. Gerta confidently tells him that she believes the mirror's price can be 10 dinars. However, her father responds sadly, explaining that fewer people are interested in magical items these days because they are more focused on technology. He worries that if this trend continues, they might have to close the shop and move elsewhere. After sharing his concerns, he walked away. Just then, an elderly woman entered the shop, her eyes lighting up at the sight of all the magical items. She was thrilled because this was the only store left in the city that sold such wonders. Gerta decided to show her a special mirror that her father had given her. When the woman looked into the mirror, she saw images of her childhood, which brought her immense joy. Gerta told her the mirror cost 10 dinars, but upon hearing the price, the woman hesitated and seemed ready to leave. Gerta thought for a moment and then decided to give the mirror to the old woman as a gift. The woman's face lit up with happiness as she accepted the mirror. Later, Gerta told her father that she had sold the mirror for 10 dinars and handed him the money she had saved. Her father was overjoyed, as it had been a long time since anything had sold in their shop. He then asked Gerta to call her brother Kai. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to King Harold, a brilliant inventor and scientist who creates advanced machines. One of his soldiers rushes in to inform him about the mysterious magical door discovered in the snowy mountains. Intrigued, King Harold decides to investigate this magical door. Then a nervous troll approaches him to share more about the magical door. The troll warns that behind it lies a dangerous sorceress, the Snow Queen, who has imprisoned. He explains that only someone with magical abilities can enter, and once inside, they cannot return. Concerned about the potential threat, King Harold orders his soldiers to throw the troll into the door to test the truth of his claims. After that, he declares that he will put an end to the magic that threatens their world. Now, King Harold has ordered his soldiers to capture all the magicians and bring them to the palace for send them to this door inside. He want to do it because a long time ago, the powerful sorceress known as the Snow Queen who tried to destroy the world, but a brave girl stopped her and locked her away behind the magical door. Because of this, King Harold has a deep hatred for all magicians and wants to get rid of them completely. Another side, we meet Kai, Gerta's brother. He is in trouble with a girl named Alfida. She is furious because Kai has drawn a strange picture of her and now she is chasing him down. Just then, Gerta arrives and takes Kai away. Further, we see Gerta and her family enjoying dinner together. Suddenly, some soldiers arrive with news from King Harold. announcing that he has summoned all the magicians to his palace. They mention that if the king finds a magician whose magic he likes, that magician will receive a special reward. This news excites all the magicians, and they quickly start making their way to the palace. Gerta's parents also decide to go as well, but since Gerta has no magic, she stays behind. Meanwhile, in her icy palace, the Snow Queen is playing chess with the troll. As she plays, more magicians are being sent to her by King Harold's soldiers, either by tricking them or forcing them. Just then, the old woman appears who once gifted by Gerta the magic mirror, looking very anxious. She warns Gerta to escape because King Harold is imprisoning all the wizards in a mirror world from which they cannot return. This urgent message comes from her son, who serves as a soldier in the king's palace. Hearing this news, Gerta feels really sad because her family also trapped in the king's palace. She tries her best to get to the palace, but by the time she arrives, it's already too late. Gerta's parents and her brother have already gone through the magical door. The soldiers try to stop her from entering, and during the chaos, Gerta accidentally bumps into the magical door. The soldiers soon realize that she is just an ordinary girl, so they capture her and throw her in jail. In this same jail, they also catch Layla and lock her up too. We learn that Layla has been using fake magic to trick people and steal from them. Meanwhile, in the mirror world, many magicians are gathered, including Gerta's parents. The Snow Queen treats the other magicians kindly, but an old magician reveals that they can escape from the mirror world if they get help from Snow Queen, along with Gerta. After the other magician's request, Snow Queen agrees to help. With a magical spell, the Snow Queen separates from her body and appears before Gerta, who is terrified at the sight of her. The Snow Queen tells Gerta that her parents are trapped in the same mirror world and that she is the key to freeing them. Gerta is scared of the Snow Queen and doesn't trust her at all. The Queen tries to convince Gerta that she has changed for the better. It turns out that Gerta is the one who had previously imprisoned the Queen in the mirror world when she was about to cause great destruction. Now, she is the one who can. See her. Gerta protests, saying she has no magical powers to help. The Queen reminds her that she defeated her without any powers before, and maybe it's a good thing she doesn't have magic now, or she could be stuck in the mirror world too. Then, with a wave of her magic, the Snow Queen releases Gerta, who quickly escapes from that place. As Gerta runs away, she gets help from the son of King Harold. After leaving the palace, she teams up with Alfida to head towards the Troll's palace, since only the Troll King possesses the key to the magical mirror world. On their journey, they bravely face many soldiers who try to stop them, but they manage to fight them off and finally reach the Troll's kingdom, where they discover that the Trolls are preparing to leave their home. Gerta meets the King of Trolls and learns that King Harold wants to invade their land, forcing the Trolls to go underground for safety. The king explains that they can't compete with the powerful ships of humans, so they must hide. Gerta urges the king to help them by giving her the key to the mirror world. But the king refuses, fearing that if the Snow Queen escapes, it would put them all in danger. Unbeknownst to the trolls, the Snow Queen, who is nearby but invisible to everyone except Gerta, tells Gerta to inform the king that she promises not to harm them. Gerta also shares this promise with the king. At first, the king doubts Gerta's words, but then the Snow Queen shows them proof of her presence. This convinces the Troll's king, and they decide to join Gerta in her quest. While they travel, Gerta asks the Snow Queen why she doesn't have any magical powers. The queen explains that a child born to a magician can never be just an ordinary person. However, it's true that Gerta hasn't shown any magical abilities yet. The queen mentions that Gerta was born in the year of the dragon, which means she has potential powers, but she can only use them when necessary. Soon, they arrive at a magical pond. The king of trolls pulls out a special key from his locket, revealing a magical world. As he does this, a door to the mirror world begins to form from the pond's water. On the other side, Kai is about to step through the door when King Harold arrives with his ships and soldiers. Following them, King Harold attacks, causing the door to shatter and injuring the King of Trolls badly. Gerta's brother steps out from the door, and she feels really happy to see him, but her joy quickly turns to sadness when she sees the injured king. The king hands Gerta the key to the mirror world and tells her he's glad he could help before he passes away. In the meantime, the queen notices Gerta's bravery and sadness, so she uses her magic to revive the king of trolls. All the trolls leave except for one who stays with Gerta because he wants revenge on King Harold. Meanwhile, King Harold has drained all the water from the magical pond using machines. While doing this, he discovers a red box containing a heart and takes it with him. Later, when Gerta and her friends are passing through the area, they find a boy unconscious in the lava. Gerta recognizes him and jumps in to help. Together, Gerta and Kai rescue the boy. The next day, when the boy wakes up, everyone is furious to see him. We learn that his name is Rollin, and he had previously betrayed Gerta and her friends. However, Rollin is confused and doesn't remember anything about his past action. While they are figuring things out, they notice machines that are supposed to bring water from the magical pond. They come up with a plan to capture one of these machines. But when they approach the machine, they are disappointed to see that the water is spilling out into the sea instead of being collected. This makes everyone feel really sad because their plan isn't working. At the same time, they realize that their ship has drifted away. Rollin decides to take action and goes after the ship. He manages to regain control of it and brings it back to his friends, which makes everyone feel a bit better. After that, Alfida leads them to a pirate city that floats in the sky, where they meet her mother, who is the leader of all the robbers. Meanwhile, the Snow Queen visits the king's palace and discovers that King Harold is keeping some magical pond water for his experiments. She shares this information with Gerta. Then Gerta shares this to the others. They come up with a new plan where Alfida's mom will distract the soldiers, allowing Gerta and her friends to sneak into the palace. Their goal is to use the magical water to open that special door. That night, Rollin expresses his regret to Gerta for his past mistakes, even though he can't remember them. Gerta, being kind-hearted, forgives him without hesitation. The following day, they all prepare for their important mission together. Alfida's mom cleverly distracts all the soldiers, which gives Gerta and her friends a perfect chance to sneak into the palace. While this is happening, we see the king and his son having a conversation. The prince questions his father about his actions, wondering if all magicians are truly evil. King Harold reassures him that he is making these tough decisions for the sake of their future and the safety of all humans. Just then, Gerta and her friends confront the king, but he and his soldiers quickly capture them. The king notices something unique about Gerta, recalling how she defeated the Snow Witch without any magic and escaped from his palace before. This time, he orders his soldiers to imprison Gerta in a place where she can't escape, while the magicians are sent to the mirror world and the ordinary people are thrown into jail. As the Snow Queen's magic fades away, she returns to her own realm. Meanwhile, Gerta and Rollin find themselves trapped in a cell, but Rollin encourages Gerta to stay strong. In the meantime, a heavy rain falls, caused by a witch in the mirror world. Then Gerta comes up with a clever plan to block the water drainage. This causes the prison to fill up with water, allowing her and her friends to rise to the surface and escape through the roof. However, they soon realize that the magical water that once helped them open the enchanted door in the palace is no longer available. As they try to figure out their next move, Rollin informs Gerta that the door is also made from the magical river's water and suggests that placing the key on it might unlock it. Gerta follows Rollin's advice and places the key on the door, and it seems like it might actually open. Just then, King Harold arrives and quickly intervenes, preventing the door from opening. He orders his soldiers to capture them again, but Rollin stands up to King Harold, causing a nearby red heart box to crash into him. This unexpected event transforms Rollin into a giant monster, and he begins to battle the soldiers. Then all the soldiers fear and escape from there. Now King Harold, not backing down, uses his giant robot to confront the monstrous Rollin, leading to an intense fight between them. After a fierce struggle, King Harold manages to broken the monster and grabs Rollin from its inside. Seeing her friend in such a terrible state makes Gerta furious. When Gerta sees Rollin in such a terrible state, she feels a surge of anger. At that moment, she realizes that she has gained incredible magical powers, specifically the powerful magic of dragon. With this newfound strength, she confronts Harold, who is also filled with rage. The two engage in an intense battle, and Gerta manages to destroy Harold's giant robotic machine, claiming victory over the king. But Harold refuses to accept his defeat and attempts to break the magical door. Just as he is about to do so, his son appears in front of him, Harold urging him to leave. But instead of listening, the son steps through the magical door, revealing that he possesses magical abilities as well. This revelation brings sadness to the king, who realizes the consequences of his action. In a moment of desperation, he pleads with Gerta to open the magical door. Gerta, showing her kindness, decides to open the door, allowing all the magicians to emerge. The king is overjoyed to see his son again and embraces him tightly. In a final act of bravery, Gerta enters the mirror world and brings back the Snow Queen, who has transformed into a good queen. Everyone is filled with happiness, and the story concludes on a positive note. If you liked this tale, remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more exciting updates. Thank you.